Welcome to our 23rd episode of Men-Talk 2. This episode, we have someone who is no stranger to the program. He was on our sixth episode where he spoke about no expectations, where he spoke about relationships and different things, where he gave us no expectations because based on expectations from all his experience, expectations are what cause things to disintegrate. So today, our discussion today would be the importance of fathers. A step further than last episode, at episode number 22, where fathers are important, and we are continuing on that trend. So today, April 22nd, Men Talk 2, episode 23, we have Mr. Arnold Best. Mr. Best, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Akil, for having me once again. And I know you said April 22nd, and I must say, today is an honor to be here with you on my birthday. You know,
Hey, happy birthday, man.
yeah. Once you call on me, once I'm available, I'll be there for you, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Well, over the period of time, I've been to last week episode was something that touched me over a period of time, yes, but something I went to the weekend before, and I just had to speak about it. Where, especially where young men are concerned, there are a lot of young men growing up without fathers in their life or any father figure, and the mother is raising the child. And there are many schools of thought that says a mother cannot teach a boy how to become a man. She could guide him in certain things, but she can't teach him how to be a man because the things that we go through as men, she wouldn't even know how to guide him where that is concerned with some of these things. And why I said that also, sometimes when the male presence is missing in the young man's life, when any male come and speak to them with authority, they take offense to it. And you see that many times with the police and anybody in authority, they put a hand up and they face it violently. So, from your experience, do you see or do you think that the father plays an important role in a child's life?
Of course, and from the beginning of mankind, the fathers always play an important role in young men in their lives, women and men, right? And life has shown us, history has shown us where the importance of a male figure now, you notice I say male, not just father, a male figure
Okay.
in
Mhm.
young man's life, right? So it's yes to answer your question, it's very, very much important. It's very, very important.
So, with a lot of with the advent and the proliferation of these single parent households, how do you see the male, as I said, the male figure playing a part? Because many of these households growing up with the single parent household, not the nuclear as we knew it before, and the father is absent. What effect that could have, what you see having on a child, and that how we can bridge that gap?
It all boils back down to the men, eh? Heal the boy and the man will appear. Right? I'm gonna repeat that. Heal the boy and the man will appear. Now,
Mhm.
why I say that is that within the last couple decades, we see where the society where men, the role of a man has changed. You know, and why I say it has changed is that we lose touch along the way from probably within the 60s, 70s, 80s coming up there, we lose that touch. Because a lot of us people in the 80s and the 90s grew up in single parenthood, right? So when we
Yeah.
break down that and look at that, when we didn't have that man to be vulnerable with, even if they tell us, hey, what I'm telling you, we're crying for, come, let me tell you this thing, and give you a reasoning, reason with you, it make it easier that time. Nowadays, we don't have that. So the men have to learn that being a father, hear me now, Not just being a man, but being a father is really, really important. And it doesn't matter, we, you know, it doesn't matter what feelings you're going through with the other parent. Because that's mainly most of the times when they say a home is broken, it's not about the child really, it's about the adults in the home. And that is what make most of the homes and them single parent homes. So
Yeah.
I think men need to step up. It doesn't matter what situation, what relationship you have with the mother of this child. I think it's important for men to still step up and play their role no matter what in a child's life.
But you said something important there. The no matter what happened between the adults, which is the mother and the father, the men need to step up. But how would you see that happening? As men, we have egos, right? And sometimes things happen to trigger that ego and bruise that ego. And as we know, so
Yeah,
they walk away. It didn't end good,
yeah.
right? It may be for whatever reason, it didn't end good. How can that man, what advice can you give to that man to forget about those things and step into
Right.
the child's life?
So we had to get out with feelings first as man. Right? First, they just tell us we do have feelings. But we tend to show a lot of feelings, right? And we men need to come out of our feelings in order to deal with your child. Here's the other thing too. It's not about you. It's not about you and your mother, right? It's not about this. When this child come on this earth, it's not about you and your mother. It's about this child. So whatever grievances, whatever miscommunication, whatever love lost in the past, you can't take it out on the child. A child needs both parents, and most of the times, we men, as I talk about ego just now, we men take that and we feelings. I ain't going and checking because they're the mother. I can't handle the mother.
Yeah,
But if you have that responsibility as a father, you have to demand that. Now you might say, well, it have men try that. And women keeping them away from the child. Well, that is a whole
yep.
different story. But as a man, fight for that. Step up and play a role. Step up and fight that. If you need to be around your son, be around your son. So you can't tell me you have no excuses that the woman didn't want you there or she didn't want you around the child. It have ways you could make that happen once it's accepted. But do not stop fighting as a father and as a man to really be around, right? And be that father figure, that man for that child. Don't stop that. And that is the mistake we're making.
So you believe the mistake we're making is that men stop, they just give up.
Yeah, yeah, because we're going into feelings. We're not studying the child, we're studying ourselves. That's why you see men crying and fighting. We talk about Rondell Fields and the father, you see them, they're fighting for that relationship
Yeah,
with the children. You understand? Tears, big man kind tears. They just want to see the child, they want to spend time with the child. That is fighting. That most men give up and say, well, boy, let him sit the mother and start to, you know, fight for your child. So I will tell a man, no matter what, if you have to go to court, make sure and get it proper and get your son, get your child. I ain't not talking about the son alone, but your daughter too, that you have time
yeah,
to spend
children on the whole,
children on the whole. Right? Exactly.
because
Yeah,
they are needed for the girl children just as much as the boy children.
correct, correct.
So fight for your child,
Fight
fight
for
for
your
the
child.
right, because that's your right.
Yeah, yeah. You have the right. Here's the right you have. You have the right to be a father to this child. Once you are the father, you have the right to fight to be that father. You understand? A man, why should I fight to be the father? But if you're the mother having difficulties in communicating properly and you're not getting the time with the child that you would like to, you gotta fight for it, bro.
So you believe in mediation
Of course.
in a situation like that, because many people run to the court immediately. But
Yeah,
before running to the court, there are avenues to help. Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
Ministry of Sport and Community Development have the Mediation Services
yeah,
Division. You can
yeah,
go to them because sometimes there's emotions, as I said, on both sides.
yeah.
So the two parents
Because
cannot see eye to eye.
people putting feelings and they're suffering the children, they're suffering the children. That the feelings are the feelings are totem. They don't like how you operate. I like how she just talk to me. I don't like how he just. I mean, come on. But here's the thing, Aki. You see, when we make it about ourselves, that's where the pain does come from. Eh?
Okay.
Hear me out. When you go into a relationship, now this child come on this earth. Both man and woman are responsible for this child to go on to come on this earth, right? So it ain't working out with us. But anytime we start to study ourselves in any relationship, that's where pain does come. Anytime we start to study ourselves in any relationship, that's where pain does come. That's where we call baby love. That's what they call it selfish love. It's all about you. No, it's about the child. Whatever going through, all you're going through right now is not about all this, it's about the child. So if all had to communicate in a way to make this thing work for this child, that is the most important thing there. You understand? I know people not
Yeah.
seeing it that way, Akil. Everything's about them. It's not about you. It's about that child.
It's about the child. And what you know what gets to me sometimes?
Mm.
You know, there are fathers who not in the child life or don't want to play an active role in the child life. Or on both sides, both parents. There you go this way. And the parent, maybe the father or the mother, gets someone else. But we go the mother gets another partner. All of a sudden, the father becomes bold and present because the next man in the child's life. And starting to put demands that this man cannot talk to the child, the man cannot guide the child, the man can't do anything.
All I
What is
feelings, all I feelings, all I feelings, like feelings, all I feelings, you know, that is again. I see it have extended families where both male, both females, fathers remarry, mothers remarry, right? And everybody to have a
Mhm.
bigger family unit now where
There
everybody
are
have
two
a
mothers and two
say.
fathers, everybody same page.
Yeah, but I will say this. No, those things doesn't come that easy to where there's have a little rift in between
Hmm.
before it really materialize to where it is, right? The thing will just be, nice all the time. But what you just said there is that men coming back to their feelings, they don't know the man to take care of the child or talk to the child. But if you are not present for whatever reason, I mean, sometimes you might be behaving a certain way, but the new father might be behaving in a different way that the child might like, the child might appreciate. The child, he must show up more because remember too, he still had to impress the mother. So he will show up
Yeah.
more for the child than the actual father. So all these little things that are taking place again, we're going back to egos, we're going back to feelings, we're going back to a man, nobody should be talking to my child, but I'm my child. So that way you get that kind of situation arising from.
Egos, everything comes back down to feelings.
Yeah.
And they say men don't have feelings, eh?
Nah.
They
It's
say
maybe it's
men
the
don't have feelings.
energy. The energy we use with them feelings by Akil. The energy we have with them feelings. We have feelings, I mean, we have feminine energies, we have male masculine energies, right? Some sometimes we so insecure about ourselves, we express the feminine energy so much that we don't realize we express it. And if I
Mhm.
tell a man that now, like, "Well, you feel like a girl, or I be no girl, your mother, or what feminine energy? Dude, you have a feminine energy too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So again, a man, it's all, and I always teach men, it's all come back to you. You had to take stock of yourself. You had to check yourself then. I can't check yourself for you. I'll show you things, right? In my work, in my field of work too, as a coach, I'll show a man something, but you had to check yourself and realize, well, okay, what do I need to change to make this work for both parties? And I ain't talking about you and the mother, I'm talking about you and the child.
So you're the child. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I'll get a story. A day I took a taxi, go down St. James to do something. So I hired a car. So while I'm going down the road, the driver start to complain now. Thing. So when I'm driving, he said, boy, my daughter, mother and them gave me real pressure to see my daughter. But I said, serious? He said, yeah. I said, what happened here? Right now, my daughter said, "What talk to me neither. She taking chain up from them, you know." That's all right. I say, who does pick up from school? He said, I just go and pick up. I said, let us talk. He said, nah. She don't want to talk with me. I said, okay. I say, well, when it dropping out, when from morning times, he say he does pick up too. I said, all right, cool. So you have that time with her. He say, yeah. I said, all right, here what to do. I say, some evening that you have a little money and you could afford it, pretend that you're hungry when you pick up. Children don't refuse KFC,
At all.
right? So they said, good boy, hungry boy. You ain't think that way, go make KFC and get something, and drive straight by KFC drive through. They don't refuse. She will tell you yes, a snack box or whatever. Anyhow, I tell them to play that role. You know, he saw me in a gas station about maybe a week and a half after. Yeah, you see, man, travel with me the other day. I said, yeah, the fellow, I said, what things here? Boy, you believe that it work? I said, what's that? I forget. Yeah, my mom tell me pick up the child and thing and pretend that I'm hungry and I wait for KFC and thing. Say it work him. Yeah, boy, the child start to talk. So the child yeah, me and she good now. We building something, She happy to see me on mornings now and having a relationship that conversation every day we talking now, you know. Even she has make a little run with me before I drop her home and thing and whatnot. So I saying this to say that sometimes as men or as fathers, we need to find creative ways of interacting with the children. Because we just have the opportunity to with the children, but we don't know what to tell them. We don't know how to start it. In his case, we said the daughter's getting chained up from the grandparent and parent, the mother. So the daughter watching he differently, but when the daughter realized, hey, he cool. And it all stems from, hey, I hungry, like you got the little KFC, he playing the music, he says at a station, boom champions or one of them station, he say, he don't really play and he car. But when she come in, and she say, no, the front seat now. She say, no, the front seat to she daddy now. So all these little things, man, we need to understand that you can't just quote feelings because you're the mother not good in order to suffer the child. And that is my point I was trying to make.
So what you can't told feeling, and that's what he
No, no,
did. And you helped him.
no.
You helped him with a icebreaker to
Mm-hmm.
get to the child. You have him
Yeah,
break that barrier that the child had
yeah, you can't quote feelings.
because
Like, again,
no,
going
because
back to
he
what I said, anytime you make it about yourself, you end up in pain. Anytime you make it about yourself.
yeah because that's what he did there. The parents say all kind of thing, the grandparents whatever, and the child ain't talking to him. He put a mental block there,
Exactly.
and he lost the opportunity. He would have lost the opportunity to connect with his daughter if you didn't intervene and giving her avenue. And that is so powerful because there are many of us out here today who walking around and don't understand. It will go to a little emotional intelligence. And there are many different avenues. That's why I spoke about the mediation before. But there are a lot of different organizations now, maybe religious organizations, social organizations, have parenting seminar because parenting has changed 100-fold from way back when to now
Yeah,
because the child has been exposed to a lot more than what we would have been exposed to 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 plus years down the road.
yeah,
So sometimes the parenting sessions could help.
yeah.
All right, so we need to and find a different way of reaching our child.
There's the other thing too, eh? It have communication skills we need to learn as parents too. And hear me out of this one. A child might be going through something, the child don't know how to express it. You might sense it
Mhm.
from the child. I always encourage parents to be present with the child. You see that? We miss out on that opportunity to being present. You could be tired. Yeah, you're a hardworking man. You're coming from work, you pick up your child, or you're going home, traffic, child might be talking stuff, child may not be talking stuff. Child will just be in their own zone, playing on the game, doing home, whatever it is in the traffic lane. You know, what I encourage parents to do is always be present with the child. If the child strike up a conversation, take down the music,
Mhm.
listen to that child. Now you're driving, so you can't be like facing. But if you're home, you're washing
You could face
dishes,
them.
you're cooking, you know, yeah, you could face your child, be present with that child, let that child feel you. You lean forward to that child, listen to that child. You know, even if it's a joke a child coming to make and it's like, okay, don't ever look at it as wasting time in your head. Oh God, you're wasting my time with that stale joke. I hear that already. No, pretend like you never hear. Be present with that child. And that is a big mistake we make as well. Because we might have the good communication, we might have leeway with our co-parenting families, but you are not present with the child. And that is another aspect we really don't talk much about it, okay? Because a lot of parents have access to the children, but are we present with them? Giving them devices alone
Yeah,
and telling
because
them,
you
right,
give them devices for them to not make noise and for us to keep the peace.
right. But no, you have to be present too. You have to be able to question them. You have to be able to talk to them, reason with them. You have to be a mentor for your children. You know, when people reach out to me and ask me to be mentors for the child, you know, I have to question the parents. Right. So let me get our next story. A day, I get a call. I write an article in the papers when I used to write for the Guardian. And a woman reached out to me and she said, I know, I'm real glad for this article you wrote here and it reminded me of my son. I said, what's going on with your son? She said, he very withdrawn and whatnot and things. She feel gay. I said, gay? I said, what make you think your son gay? So she gave me all the characteristics about him. Quiet, introverted, you know, he's in his room and whatnot. And so, all right, that really gave me enough for me to, to
Yeah.
really hear that, I said, let me don't go down that road about your son. I said, what he like? So he like auto mechanics, he like engineering, he like mechanical stuff, he love to build stuff. I said, okay. I said, what school he going? Is that one of the quality schools what we call, the upscale school. I said, all right. He doesn't want to go to parties. He doesn't want to interact with the children when he go to parties. He is ready to go home soon as he reach. I say, okay. I say he does be excited to go with the parties. Not really, he doesn't want to go at all. I start to coax him. I say, why you start to coax him? That party so important. Well, no, just for friends, for him to, interact with the people there. And as I say, it's one of the so-called
Prestige schools. Prestige
school.
schools.
I
Uh-huh.
say, I hope that prestige school is not about you. That you get to rub shoulders with the Sabras and the big boys and the people and them in from. So she said, no, I said, all right. I said, let me talk to him. Let me give him a little hearing. So we make our appointment and I met him. And we sit down, we talk. And I asked him about his life and what he wants to do and thing. And he loved cars, he loved engineering, he loved automotive. And I reached back to her and report to her and her husband. I told them, I said, your son is a murderer. I said, your son is not gay.
That's what it was. I picked up on that from the time you started telling me. Because he don't
Yeah.
want to be outside. That he's an
I said,
introvert.
he can't stand. He said, all of them falls in the school. He said, that school is only a bunch of false people, Mr. Das.
So he can't deal with that.
He can't deal with that. And his mother tried to push him there until she come to me and tell me that he like he gay. So I had to go
Exactly.
follow and see my son. I said, don't ever. So anyhow, that happened around early 2020. Like, yeah, I met them in 2019.
Uh-huh.
So anyhow, during that time, they keep on communicating with me. So I told her, they have a book on Amazon, but it's a book, an encyclopedia on muscle cars.
Mhm.
Now, I get the father involved now. I hear this one. That was the mother reaching out to me. Yeah? The father, now I get him involved. So me and he started to communicate. I said, he say, your son like cars and things. I always like that when I was young too. We have something in common. I say, well, it would be nice if I had like a old car to fix up, boy, and we are just talking. That man went and buy a old car. Rusted down. Didn't tell nobody none. Pandemic reach. 2020. You know, he and his son build over that car during that time. Okay,
Perfect time in the home.
the home. He and his son build over that car. The father have a well-off job. So the father is buy parts, piece, then rest it down. But he didn't have it home. He didn't have the car home. He have it by a partner. So the partner had a
Yeah.
bigger garage. And he had it. And he went, he and the son used to go, and the son loved himself. He said, boy, never in my life have I feel that me and my son be connected so much. Thank you so much, my father, son, whatnot, that thing. And the mother's always watch man laugh, and she said, I understand taking my son here, you know. Look at my boy Billy engine talking about combustion and talking to son. So
That
we
come
need
back
as
to what you said.
right. We need as parents know how to communicate. See, the communication is key because like I say, I could tell you many stories people parents reach out to me and I'd buff them. I'd let them know, hey, you have to be that mentor. I cannot be that parent for your child. Another thing, I went in another prestige school and do a talk. I do two talks, 2 sessions or 3 sessions I had with this particular class. And here what happened? One of the boys came to me because we talk about suicide, we talk about gang violence, we talk about sex, we talk about different things with male, fellas, because our boys' school. So, it
Yeah.
was our boys talk. I tell the I asked the counselor so if she can excuse us now so that we more open. So we get them the same thing like the M zone, a little
Yeah.
freedom. Right. That created that kind of scene. So let us talk. But watching one guy in the center, bright, quick talking, he very articulate and so I find he want to say, but he holding back. He talking, but it's certain things that he want to say. He wasn't so. I said, let me get my little time. So the lunch end up coming in at the same time. So I say, you know what? I'll take the opportunity here and tackle him. So everybody went for the lunch and thing. I say, I want you to come. I tell you the guidance counselor, I said, keep his lunch for him. Keep a box there, his box for him. I want to talk to him. I said, what going on? So what going on home? I said, what going on home? You want to tell me something? Yeah, all right. My father. He said, my father have a way that he want to put all of us not in counseling, to see psychologists. I said, what happened to you? What happened to your sister? Nothing. Teenager. She love art. She love science. That's what he said. Nothing. He didn't see nothing like. I said, okay. The big brother. He said, well, he angry. Yeah, but I understand his anger because I get in there now. I said, who? His father. you know? So that way he found. I said, so you, your sister going psychologist. Your brother going psychologist. And their father saying that you want to go psychologist. Yeah, man, I don't need to see a psychologist. So that's again how the parenting in the world is now. The first thing we want to check the one psychologist and then coming at people like me to mentorship. I don't mind mentoring a young man, but if it have a father and a mother in that household, I rather deal with the father to teach him how to mentor his son rather than because that is his role.
What we noticed from what you said there with that scenario is that in both scenarios, the communication and understanding their child was a big thing
Mhm.
because they're there but they're not present
They're
to
not present.
have the conversation with the child. And with how things changing now, with the advent of everything, you need to find ways to communicate to reach the child.
Yeah,
So that's the first example that you gave with the young man who the mother thought was gay, but he is brilliant and he's bright. He just don't like to interact with people, so he's an introvert at the same time. But she wasn't seeing that. And
yeah,
when you spoke to her and give the father the advice, COVID was a good thing to them because it brought them closer, it brought healing to the family, and it brought a bonding moment within the father and the son that he may not have gotten anywhere else if you didn't intervene and if that didn't happen. And in the second scenario, the father not taking the time to understand the children. So he see everybody angry and he send them to counseling, not knowing that what he is doing affecting the children that way. And
yeah.
parenting changed because children, the advent of children has changed also. Before, you staying in Trinidad and only in Trinidad. You stay in one community and only in community. Now, all around the world, seeing everything. For example, the podcast streaming in Germany, Netherlands, Canada. I'm doing it in Trinidad and reaching out there. So just like that, the children are staying home on their devices, on TV, and getting exposed to everything else around the world. So the parent too now had to be tech savvy to try and see and understand. So the communication with that is concerned is necessary.
Parents always telling children what they don't want.
Uh-huh.
Think about it. I don't want you to think. I don't want this. I don't want that. Parents always telling children what they don't want, right? So where's the fact? The fact in that now is that start telling child what you expect of them.
Mhm.
Hear me out. You talk about phones. Who does buy the phone? The child mentioned buy it for itself.
No, the parent by the phone device.
Right. I don't want you going on social media. I don't want you to do it. I don't want you. I don't want. I don't want. You don't want. You don't want. Child will find a way.
Yeah.
Better you go on the phone with the child and open an account for the child. Show the child the ugly, the good, the bad, and the ugly in the system. Right? Once you have that communication with the child will respect your order. But if you're telling the child, do that, curiosity come into play there now. Why
But what to
are
the
you
why? Why?
yeah. But John,
Children
my
always
partner,
ask why.
he on TikTok right through.
Mm-hmm.
Why I can't be on TikTok too? I go find a way. So I go in and open an account quietly.
Yep.
So I'll change my email address, put in an email address, and have a quiet account. You understand? I have ways I could hide it and access it. Better for a child to come and say, Dad, we're watching here. Let me see. Let me see you're going through. Let me see you're searching. Let me see. And have a communication with your child.
But how
But
easy is that to do this?
that is the problem we have there right now.
Yeah, how easy it is to do that? Because
It's
with how
fear.
things going now,
Yeah, but I'll tell you this, it's fear. A lot of parents, that fear factor, because we wasn't prepared for the age we are now, me and you. I mean, we on I mean, we streaming here, we talking here, we streaming this all over. We still that tech savvy fathers, we could still, dig up in something. But there are a lot of people out there too, actually. They ain't taking that time to really learn, and really adapting to how the children learning these days to what the children looking at too. So they just accusing them, ridiculing them on it. They all let us do all this on the Facebook and hey, hold your hand, Facebook ain't going nowhere.
none of these things
Face,
going anywhere. Thanks.
Facebook, TikTok, Instagram ain't going a place right now. This is the world we live in. Get up with the times. And that is why a lot of parents afraid to do. The other thing I talk about, the first thing I talk about, right, is presence. The other thing that
Mm-hmm.
they're afraid to do is adapt.
Mm-hmm.
That they learn to adapt to the times the children growing up in. Because we still want to live like we lived in the 80s. So we still want to grow our children like they living in the 80s, right? Or they're living in the 90s. Where when you grew up with your parents telling you, don't come in until my spit dry and all them kind of choppiness. That parents
Yeah.
still want to no, 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 no. No.
Parenting has evolved because children has evolved and the world has evolved.
World has
You know,
evolved.
when we were growing up in the 90s and now start talking about globalization, the
Mm-hmm.
children, we saw the transformation, but
Yep,
they're born into it. So they
exactly.
ahead of us because we have to learn they're growing in it.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what would you say are the two most important roles of a father?
Hmm.
If you could
I
narrow it
think
down to two.
two. All right. I mean, I'll tell you this, yeah. As rules of a father, one of the things is being present.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have it right all the time. You may not know all the answers neither. You won't know all the answers as a father because everybody have different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But be present.
Be present. That's
Be
one.
present. Yeah, because I think you see, even 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 in the simplest things, children don't appreciate it. You're there, you have what school bazaar or sports days. Just be present.
Mm-hmm.
Let them see you. You don't have to be, as I say, you may not be all that, but just be there, right?
They'll appreciate it.
Yeah. The other thing too, what I will say is learn, learn, learn learn what they are learning, so you can have that communication with them, understand what they're seeing. So it have things that parents will just put on something on the phone for them and hand the child just to keep them quiet. What we talked about earlier on. But they're not taking the
Mm-hmm.
time to go through the whole program to see, well, let me see what I'm really looking at. What make this thing so fun? I mean, I'm adult. I may not understand it. It may be boring to me. It may be like, what shit this is? But you get to understand what your child looking at and have them hooked on and this type of things. You understand? So learn as much as you can from what your children are doing. Will do, follow what they are doing. Try to question them too. What is that? Our thing, and learn from them. Learn
That,
from
that
them.
is two powerful things there because one leads to the other. Because if you're present, you would learn. You have no choice but to
You have
learn,
no choice. Exactly.
right? And you may not. I remember this example from a long time. When you were growing up, your parents may not necessarily know your work that you're doing. But you know what they used to do? They used to put it on you. They're around and they're present in your life, so they know when you do it too fast. So
Yeah.
they'll tell you back. You think that right? Go back and do
Yeah.
it. You know the
Go back
answer, you
and
know, but
exactly.
they're working off of you because the
Yeah.
long the you present in your life long enough to know. And let me give you this example. I have a partner. He was in podcast, so I think it's episode 14 or 7, early, where it was the International Day for Persons with Disability, I think, when he has dyslexia. His mother used to go to school, take his work, let the teacher teach her it to go and teach him.
Mm.
Until there came a time when she actually doing it, give him it, she may not fully understand it. When she give him it, she make sure he understand it because he had to explain it to her.
Right.
And being present. And when we go home, I remember when I used to go home, I always liked school and school work and whatnot. I
Yeah.
usually for my parents sometimes I finish my homework up front.
Mm.
They ask me for sure before they even check it. Father come, you sure that's what you're supposed to do? And
Mm.
bam. So it's presence. I love how you say the word presence,
Mm.
right?
Be
And
quick
that
to present.
presence is important.
Quick to have that present. Be quick to get them presents. Be quick to go and buy presents for them, but we fail to be present with them. You know, and
And without the
that's a
world changing. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's a big thing we missing out as parents because sometimes we gotta give them everything, but all they need is
Mm-hmm.
our presence. They want to be, hear me out, mommy, hear me out, daddy. You know, hear what I'm saying, understand what I'm saying, try to understand it. See me from from that point of view rather than from what you know as the parent, as the adult. You know, so
And if we get out our feelings, we will always be present.
all the
Because you
time.
said that don't be there because the feelings, the emotions. And then although you spoke about no expectations before, that was in terms of relationship in the early stance. But let your children know the expectations that you mentioned that earlier on. Instead of
Yeah,
telling them don't do something, let them know the expectation that you have of them.
it's because they will have a benchmark. You'll have a benchmark to work towards. Now you're not now when don't get me wrong, because some people might take it differently. And let me explain this properly. Don't expect a child to be number one in class all the time. Give them the expectation, allow them to be the best they can be within the moment and within the tools they have.
Uh-huh.
Because parents been fussing about the child to be number one and the child to go to school and that school and thing. And sometimes children ain't mentally
And they
prepared
called for
to.
that.
No, I remember.
We,
This, I don't say this one quickly. And I tell a parent at that time, I said, but no disrespect, remember your son dance. No, I didn't mean it in no kind of
no,
way, but she understood.
what they wanted for their child was that
I
beyond
say,
what
your
the
son,
child could have done.
no. Because sometimes we want this, we want that. Again, I'm going back. What we want. Sometimes we need to just take it down and find out what they want. You know, it's not what you want. It's not, and another thing to parents, stop trying to groom your children to be what you are not.
Hmm, that's a good one.
Don't put that on them now. I can let us see it all over. When parents come to me, I see it all over. All right, then again, next story. Again, a parent called me, mother and father. The boy ran away from the army. In training,
Hmm.
you know.
And you went away.
In training. Bust out a weekend, never come back. Parents calling up and down. So a client of mine know the parents and they call, reach out and say, Mr. Bessa, we help the situation. I get a call. So what happened? Say the man run away and he come back. The mother tried calling the phone. He answer her when he see not going back. He don't want that. They had a look already hang up on her. Now, so only young man is he's 23.
Mhm.
I said, okay. I said, so why are you pushing for this? I said, which one in the house is uniform? Mother and father, which one in the house is uniform? Both of them.
Okay, they wanted to do what they following his their footsteps.
Correct. The father is a fireman. The mother, she was a not a coast guard. So them was fire people. So them was in fire. So anyhow, but there was uniform people. Because when they're talking about, when they're talking, I pick it up as no wait now. Somebody in uniform that they want this child to be uniform real bad. I think the father was in the army or in the
Mm-hmm.
army at the time. Something like that. Anyhow, I said, let's stop that. I call the young man now. I send him a message because he didn't answer my call. I send him a message. He do call me back. I say, I talk to your parents. I say, you could go home. Work it out with them, work it out with the army, that you do what you want. I said, what you want? He said he like to build. He does do welding, he does do masonry. He said, that is what I want to do. I don't need a uniform to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because all that to the sell him now, that in the army,
Yeah.
he could get all them thing and whatnot. And he said, I want to own my own business. I can make my own money off of that. I said, anyhow, I talk to your parents, take your mom call, right? Listen to what she's saying. And I call them back and tell him, I say, I get on to him. I spoke to him. I said, don't pressure him, let him come home. And only have a sensible, mature conversation. Because he's 23.
Age 23 is not a little boy.
Little boy, exactly. Is he no little boy? So these are things I have to deal with when as a coach, with parents to other mothers know sometimes I say, ease up, let the father play a role. Don't be taking over the father role because some parents, mothers want to baby the boys now. But not giving the
Mm-hmm.
father the opportunity to really deal with the boy or deal with the young man how he's supposed to deal with them. You follow? So the parents had to tell them, take it down. I said, anytime she give him trouble, call me. Call
I
me.
remember well doing some research for last week's topic on the same father. Uh this lecturer, he said parents have both male and female does the same thing, just in different ways.
Yeah.
Because the males are protectors, but the mothers are protectors for their children too. However, they protect their children in this way by not wanting them to face what is out there. They're trying to keep them away from it. The father
Mm.
protect the child in this way. I know you're going to face this. Let me
Yeah.
prepare you how to deal with it. And
Yeah.
that is where we get the why we can't the mother can't teach a boy child how to become a man because the
Mm.
things that would come his way, how hard the life is and whatnot, she would not have experienced that in that aspect. So
Yeah.
another male has to come, a male role model or whatnot, to shape his life in that way.
Mm.
And what he does, even single parents household, if it's not his father, he would cling on to another male that he sees. and use that as his role model. And the male could be even in the same house with both parents. The male could be his father, but he sees his father in a negative light that he comes to say he do not want to be like his father. So he becomes the total opposite. But he still got someone to emulate to be a man from. And that's why what's that?
No, go ahead. I will tell you something just now.
And that's why we see that the proliferation of persons, not just Trinidad, but around the world, why it's so
Yeah.
easy for men to join gangs at a young age, because they with that lack of the masculine presence in the home, that's what they look at, because they think to be a man is to have fancy car, to flash off money. You have authority as a man, and that is what they go to. And people fear you, people respect you.
And hence the reason why I used it at the beginning when we started to talk about the term of healing the boy. Because all that is part of the
Mhm.
boy, eh? Heal the boy and the man will appear.
Yeah.
Right? Um, and a lot of men need to be healed. But again, it's up to them to find themselves. Some men don't believe that they need healing. They can handle it. I go how I go in. But once you get to learn to accept whatever hurt you had in the past, father wasn't there for you, your mother, whatever you went through, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, physical, whatever it is that you need healing from, okay? You need that, whatever rejection, because most of the times when men behave out of sync
Mhm.
is because of
Mhm.
rejection to it, right?
Yep.
But you heal the man and heal the boy and the man will appear. Let me show you this another story. Father reached out to me. He say, I'm gonna come and talk to his son. I say, I'm gonna come and talk to your son. Why do I need to come and talk to your son? So Mr. Bezza boy give me real trouble, real lip and da, 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 da. 18 years the boy is and bam, bam, bam. Give me a whole story about the boy. First question, the only question I asked the father, I said, what you do his mother? The man went up on a wall, climb up like he just feel like disappeared. He feel like class sink into that wall and ask him that question. I said, what you do his mother? He turned to me. Gosh. Man started to cry. Say, I guess I had a fear and a fear, whatever. And I said, all right, that's what he angry at you for.
Yep. He angry at you for his mother.
I
Took
say,
on the responsibility of an adult, and that's what we tend to do as children. Every sometimes we get in. I remember watching something some years ago in a counseling session. It was a show, I
yeah,
believe, and the counselor told the children, "Stay out of adults' business. Don't take on the responsibility of the pressures of an adult, because your mother and father, they live in their life to try to protect you. When you take it on, sometimes you take things out of context, because he holding on to the boy holding on, and next thing the parents made back up. But the boy still holding on to that pain and hurt that he saw in the mother. And they didn't, none of them spoke to the boy about it.
no, no. The man had to tear up, I tell you, the man like he want to know how I know. I said, where do you do his mother? Because that's only everything from everything he told me so far, that's the only way I could see where the boy, what happened with the
Uh-huh.
boy. Right? The boy hurting not because he's a bad father. Hurting because he see his mother hurt.
Hurt. Yeah.
So he acting out on you, he protecting his mother.
Mm-hmm. He being the man,
Right?
the protector for his mother there.
Exactly. So when he real the good now, they have their own business and the son is part of the business now and the good now, you know what I mean? But he needed
Because he
to
addressed the
go back.
situation.
Yeah, yeah, because again, feelings, when a man too, when they get confronted, a thief don't like to get make out, eh? A kill,
Mm-hmm.
a thief don't like to get make out. So when a man get like that, most of the time when they get real and raw and upfront like that, is make you check yourself automatically. If you come to me and you telling me stories and I know you wrong, Akil, and me telling you that you go continue doing,
Yep. Because
but
I feel I right all the time.
right, the day I brace you, right? And he didn't have to tell me that from the brace here, this brace here, I what should put this in when by
Yep.
automatically your
It's not a thing.
brain, because you start to feel shame one. You start to get vexed with me, you not talk with me, you lock me off. You tell me nothing again because I'm not on your side. Right? No, a narcissist go blame now. I say just like them. Like you want shit to get us 2 hours. And them kind of thing you go start to blame as a narcissist. But
Instead of
you just
looking inwardly to what you say.
exactly. Exactly. So we need to take stock. To be a man in this world, we need to take stock of who we are first. Akil, you know who you are. I know who I am. It's a lot of brothers walking around that don't know themselves. They
So
don't
true.
know themselves.
So true.
And once you're not true to yourself, good, bad, or indifferent, I know my nasty ways. I know my ways I need to improve on. I I accept that as a man. But our brothers out there in accepting it. And once you free yourself from that, I think we could have a amazing world with men standing firm. That's why people have things called brotherhood, where brothers could stay together and really, watch out for one another and teach one another and groom one another and mentor one another. Somewhere not in Detroit, Michigan, not Detroit, one of them states I saw where it have a group in this community where the children go to school. Say like we in Laventille area or Mova area. But the
Mm.
fathers who home, like if you have you working on
When they
shifts
went to
or
the
whatever.
school.
Right.
Wo- Yeah, saw that. And it made a big, the school was one of the poor, the most indisciplined school. And
Right.
the fathers come together and rotating shift. If you have a 10 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever, and they came in and made a big difference because the level of authority, they help for the school, and they show love too. So it was
Yeah.
a little tough love at the beginning, but then everything started and the children changed because many
You
of them
understand?
didn't have fathers at home.
Men on the block, men passing by the school, fellas who lie, man, time to go to school by how they walk
Exactly.
to come them
Exactly.
walking by the gate, them walking in school. And they walk them in, and then when they go in, they
I
have
saw
another
that.
brother inside, and they now taking, hey, what happening? Come, go assembly start. Come, let's go down the road. Thing.
I saw that too, and I was amazed. That could
And,
work brilliantly down
every,
here if we could get it.
exactly every day. And there's volunteerism, eh? There no men who
Yeah,
get paid for that thing.
nope. Volunteer
And
because
that,
they want to see their children do better.
and that is why I want to end this with the strength of the men is important. It's not just one man. Then Arnold, or just Akil. It's different men coming together, right? In order to groom these men. That's why they always have the African proverbs is what they say, the villagers raise the child.
Yep. Still today. Still today. So, Mr. Best, I want to thank you for joining us. You left us with
Yep.
some powerful things. For one, heal the boy and the man will appear. Heal the boy and the man will appear. And once you do that, you could come out of your feelings. Because
One
the
time.
child never asked to come here and you need to be a parent to the child that you brought forth. If you want the mother is not seeing eye to eye, you can forget that. For the sake of the child, yeah. You try your best to be present in the child life. And you said when I asked the two most important roles you see for a father, that a father is one father parent, but the father most times because we know the single parent, the child is usually with the mother in most cases. So the father be present and be adaptable. So be present in life. You may not be able to do everything, but showing up for your child is important. And be adaptable in the fact that in the sense that you are learning the technology and various things that your child may like or dislike. And when they are speaking to you, give them the attention that they need. And as for parents, when you continue, sometimes ask the child what they would like and not demand from them what you would like because they would give you rebellion. And we saw that with the three examples that they gave is that they rebelled against what they want because what was demanded of them because it was not asked of them what they wanted to do because they have an idea. Most children have an idea what they want to do after a certain age. Though. They may not have the idea when they're young, but when they reach a certain age, You can get out of them at least one or two fields in which they want to go. Right? So I just want to thank you for taking the time and
Yeah,
coming
man.
and share with us because
Yeah,
you
man.
gave some insights that for especially for the younger parents to use, especially with the example, because there are other persons who will be going through the exact same thing,
Yeah,
not just those examples. Because in life, there's somebody who went through a similar situation that you would have gone through before. And
yeah,
learning from their experience is the best. We
yeah,
hear that experience is the greatest teacher. I've learned a while ago that is not experience is the greatest teacher. Learning from other people's experience is the greatest teacher because I don't have to go through the same thing for me to learn. And that's why
exactly.
there are books. That's why there are books. And that's why we go training. So, Mr. Best, thank you for joining us on Mentor 2.
Yeah, man.
And thank you very much for always be willing. Thanks a lot.
Welcome. Have a good one.